V.T Albert Tetteh. I'm going to be asking the full names. Very soon, he's a project director of Parables Animation Studios and executive member Animators Association of Ghana. Wow. Shaman, I love your afro. This one, the Nkrumah. Oh, he's a poet. Yes, he looks familiar. Oh, I see. He looks like Cheddar. He looks like son of Nkrumah. Chairman, why? You love Nkrumah, eh?
That's right.
You love everything about Nkrumah.
Enough respect for the legend.
I see. Wow. Why are you keeping an afro hair?
Oh, I think I grew up with it and it became, now people see it as a brand. And I feel like I'm comfortable having an afro. Yeah.
Do you wish to do a dreadlocks maybe later?
No, sir.
No, sir. It's just afro. So once a while, you need to trim it a little bit.
Trim it, keep it. It's not easy keeping it.
Yeah, I know.
It's not easy at all.
Waking up in the morning just to comb the pain and all those things.
The pain. So right after taking my bath, I need to quickly make sure that I tackle this first.
When you have some water in it. So that you soften it. Oh my God.
So it's not an easy journey.
It's not an easy journey.
Even though people really admire it. Yeah.
Is it something you advise people to keep?
Oh yeah, if it fits you.
If it fits you.
It fits you. And it doesn't fit everyone. And you don't need to follow a particular trajectory. People, I didn't look up to people to become an Afro guy.
All right.
I was actually living my life and I realized that along the line I just had to keep it.
Hey, it's an old school thing, man.
That's what people say. And I think it comes with, God knows what he gives to everyone. It kind of flows with my nature.
Your nature.
What I live for, what I stand for, my values and all those things. It feels so. Being in
so comfortable
in the corporate sector.
Oh, yeah?
Being in the creative sector.
You're accepted.
So when I go here, artistically you fit in.
All
when in a corporate sometimes talk about it.
Yeah, the mindset around it.
There was a time we were going to have some sponsors, and I was told point blank that so many kids are looking up to you in your mentorship programs and all that. I think you should trim your hair. They did it 1 or 2 times and they actually realized that the personality is different from how you tag in the person. And I feel one thing that inspired me to keep it is the fact that we address, we mentioned that Afro-haired people are on a particular path, which is not worth emulating. So I told myself that if my personality is unique and it's different and it's on a good path where people look up to me and all that, then I have to change the narratives when it comes to keeping an Afro-hair.
I love
that's one of the reasons I also keep it, because I feel like people are being chastised, people are being talked down, despised when they have Afro-hair, a particular kind of tag on them. So I want to just be one of the persons.
It's just like playing reggae music. They feel you smoke marijuana.
Hey, yes, Yes.
It's one of those things. Have you had that? Maybe that tag. People say, "Oh, because you have an afro hair, maybe."
Yeah, because for me, okay, so I find myself being a very excellent student in school, always on top of my class. Charlie, we don't sleep.
You don't sleep.
So my eye make red always.
So sometimes you need to keep it high.
Even this time. So when people see me, they're like, Charlie, you sure say you know they smoke?
Yeah, the high grade association.
No. People do what they want to do, but don't just meet people and say things that you don't know about.
All right.
For me, you can see people and see their lips being darkened, their eyes being reddened and all that. Don't attribute it to smoking or anything.
Marijuana.
And when people keep their afro hair, don't think they're the first point when it comes to getting suspects in the society. Any afro, dreadlock, you are the first to target when it comes to a particular jurisdiction when something negative
because
happens.
Everybody in the ghetto has dreadlocks and any funny hairstyle. So, all right, today is the 28th of October.
Yes, sir.
I was asking this question to draw me closer to animation.
Yeah.
Yourself as a human being, you look like
animation.
Tell me about it. What is all about this International Animation Day. We are going to be playing a video very soon. We are live on Facebook, so you can as well join us. 3FM 92.7 FM. Let me get your name correctly. Sorry, I'm very sorry. So the name is
V.T Albert Tetteh.
The V and the T.
V.T is Verbal Transformers.
Oh wow!
So verbal transformers. So the Verbal Transformers is we a unique sect of young people who came together. It's 10 years now that we thought it wise that in the beginning it was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
Hallelujah.
But the Word was without form and void. So it was spoken into existence.
Preach on.
Let there be light, and there was light.
Preach on.
So if we really want to make impact in society as young people, we value the impact that words make and the power it carries. Words give life when spoken rightly. So we told ourselves that if we want to be creatives, working both in the creative aspect of the industry and the corporate part, then we will call ourselves Verbal Transformers by the leading of the Holy Spirit.
So it's been added to your name now officially.
Yeah. So just like you have the His Excellency, so we also identify ourselves as a key people, VT. Which reminds us of our calling.
How many are you? Is it an association?
It's not an association, but it's a family.
It's a family.
It's a family, yeah.
Of a million or more than a million.
Okay, we solidly 10.
All right.
Others are in
That's
other
a very small family.
Yeah, we 10, and I believe in the power of having the quality, not the quantity. Even though quantity also matters when we get on other fronts. So we want to have a solid, smaller group, and these smaller units can head or
transform a lot
other larger groups, so that when we're going on the battlefield, we know the kind of people we are working with as a core, and this core will split and get the major. So that's why we keep it.
You are the project director, and then for parables and animation, right? Because of our listeners, we want them to join us and have a feel of what we are, the discussion we are having right here in the studios. You can as well join us on Facebook right now. My name is Blakk Kobby. You can just join us on 3FM 92.7. As well, you can join my producer, Asoriba, on Facebook. He's sharing the link all over the place. It's live on Facebook. You can see. I want you to tell me about animation. What animation is all about, and what we can learn. I'm going to be playing the voice so that people listening or watching us live on Facebook can see what animation. Me, I love cartoons.
That's right.
I love cartoons so much. So when it comes to cartoons, I'm there. Anything creative, I'm there. I want to watch what is going on. So tell us a little about it. Then we can go live.
Okay. All right. So when we talk about animation, it's basically depends on the type. But basically, when we take it, it's just these are drawings that give an illusion of motion. So when you talk about the animation, we are just using the digital platform to tell our stories, and it comes from using these images that we sketch to tell this very story. So basically, it's been used in the West, and it came into our land. When the Germans wanted to do their advocacy pieces and all that. So many years back, let's say almost 60 years or 60 plus years. So it started at the GBC, where they were training young artists and all.
GBC here?
Yeah, GBC here. Before it moved to NAFTI, when they had the solid unit to run it. So, and when you talk about animation, it's basically these sketches you see on your TV and you watch, but when we use the softwares for animation, it is sketches that we make. So it is 24 frames per second, 24 drawings per second. So per a second animation that you see, it is 24 drawings that have been
24 good drawings per second.
So we have the keyframe. Then when you do the keyframes, then maybe you move in the hand. It's from here to here. So you can do your keyframe. 24. So to here. So this to this point.
So for an episode, how many drawings?
So it depends on how many you want to do. But with respect to the softwares we have now, it makes way for the in-betweens. We call them the in-betweens. When you have your keyframes, what you do basically between to have the major frames is what we call the in-betweens. So now the softwares we have aids us just like we do the work now. So you don't necessarily have to do all the 24 drawings to have a second.
So what of the transition from maybe moving the hand? How difficult is it? I'm going to be playing that video, but just answer this question so that we can go on Facebook.
So it's not easy. You really need to get a very good copycat artist who will be, so like your head, when you're moving it, it has to be drawn that way. So if you are needing the 24 frames, which is the 24 drawings, when you have your major keyframes, you need a very good copycat artist to be able to fill with the in-between, so that when the image moves from here to there, it doesn't change when you see it. So it involves so much in doing it.
Just like Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry is, that's animation.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
You know, let's just quickly go on to Facebook. Let's watch this, and then when we come back, we can have a very, very good discussion.
Far away in a foreign land, in a war they knew little about, they fought valiantly.
3FM 92.7.
Back home, denied of their entitlement, they were forced into a life of hardship, one that will spur them on to unite, rise and march on to fight for what was theirs by right. February 28th was that day. Everything changed.
The final match is only tomorrow. Look on the brighter side. Come back a different man. Look at me. A hole in me. Sergeant Ajeti, distinguished war veteran from the Royal West African Regiment, eating one dry kinky and tilapia head for breakfast.
3FM 92.7.
I had not realized that someone could actually break your heart twice at the same fault lines. Oh, take your weight. Fellow veterans, we are gathered here for a purpose. As we all know, they refuse to answer our last petition.
Private, I order you to fire into the crowd.
What is this I'm hearing?
Fellow veterans,
3FM 92.7.
know they refuse to answer our last petition.
And make to believe there was a prescribed route for you and your men.
Comrades, we encounter opposition. He threatens to shoot at us.
Sergeant, me okay.
I will fight by the side of my comrades to get my life back. I am Sergeant Ajiti. I am a soldier. I will live as one and die as one.
That's a beautiful one from your studios, right?
Yeah, so this is Ghana's... It's actually supposed to be Ghana's second animated feature film.
Second.
But nationally recognized, having the deputy minister and other leaders in our fraternity present for the launch at the Silverbird Cinemas. It was nationally recognized as Ghana's first animated feature film.
Tell me how many years it took you to do this?
Well, this took us close to a year. That was like...
Were you the only one, or it was the group of 10?
This is a group that work on this, and we did it in partnership with Animation Africa.
All right.
Yeah, so that's also forging collaboration in our country, so that we can do exceptionally well when we're doing this thing. So it took us 8 months. COVID came in and all, disrupting and all, but we were able to put this together.
You know, if you can just run me through from the start to the finishing. You do your voiceovers, you do scripts, and what else do you do?
Okay, so before we start any animated piece, I want to use the 28 being Ghana's first feature film.
Do you write a script about it?
Yeah, so it comes with conceptualizing the whole idea. Once you conceptualize the idea, then you start with scripting. Scripting goes with research.
All right.
So as you're scripting, you're researching because you need to put the right facts out. So for 28 The Crossroads, like this, you know, this is history that we're telling. And it's about the 3 ex-servicemen, the shooting of the 3 ex-servicemen at Christian Borg Castle. So we had to meet with Ajiti Anand's Sergeant Ajiti's son, who was alive,
to tell the story,
to also see his side of the story. We had to meet with lectures at the African Studies to also know their side of the story, and there were different aspects of all this. We had to read from other books. We had to as we're putting all this script together. So we were checking or fact-checking various aspects to know what is actually there. But when you even go deeper into the story, many people have their ways of telling their own stories and what happened along the line. So it's like taking an average, which speaks to the tone of what we actually want to communicate. So once you transition from that side, your research and your scripting, then you come down to doing your storyboarding. Storyboarding is to put you in perspective to what you're actually going to animate. Because you have to see, you have to create your scenes. And these things also go hand in hand with people who do the live action. So when we do this, we do the storyboard, we actually have a true picture, a mental picture of what is going to be, and on grounds to what the actual animation is going to look like, even though there might be some add-ons, but this would direct us to know what exactly we want to do when animating.
You know what, comparing this to writing a movie script and acting that, and then writing this and I don't know whether you're acting it.
So this is also acted. So right after we have the script, doing the storyboarding and all that, before we go into the main production, which is the animation, you need to know the characters that you have and cast for those characters, and you make sure that the voices are able to convey the messages you are going to put out. So when we come to that side, sometimes we do the rough voice over, which is voice acting. When you come, you are falling, you have to put your emotion in, you are running, you have to put it in. So when we do the rough voice over, it is also based on that we start with the animation.
So do you audition for the voices you need? Because some of the voices I'm hearing, they fit into.
We audition, we sit down, it's a whole team, we sit down and we say, no, Ajetiana will fit into this. This person will fit into this. Oh, I think Martin will fit into this. I think Albert will fit into this. Then along the line, we can also say, no, I think, this person will be the best for this. So we listen to, especially for Ajetiana and Koda, they have movies and all that. We listen to them and we see how they put their passions in certain characters that they emulate. And this is how we are able to cast them for these very roles.
Let me ask this. Assuming we have a movie, maybe a Ghanaian movie, that of the Jackals and whatever, can you animate that one too? And how long is it going to take? How difficult would it be?
So this is where we draw the line. Many a times people see animation to be like, oh yeah, I have a script and we need to animate it. But we have script writing for animation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when your script hits an animator's desk and an animation studio, your script can change, even though we're going to communicate the same thing. But we need to have a script that suits what animation stands for. So live action is different. And our president will always say, if it will be best told in live action, don't worry yourself with animation because of the amount of work that goes into it. And animation gives it that space to able to tell like compelling stories, very compelling stories. Like the 28th. If you want to go to Act 28th, you might end up using all your life savings. That's it. But here in the studio, we can sit down and throw back to those settings, how they look like, and we can do these things. We will not go to Burma to go and shoot. We will not go to certain locations. We do it in the studio. So these are things that we spend much time on using animation.
And you spend money.
It's so much. It involves so much. Just as I said, if 24 frames per second, imagine if you're doing a feature, an hour, and these are artists coming together.
But so you are not drawing on a paper. You are drawing on a computer, right?
So we do the drawing on paper, and the drawing on paper, we translate it. Yeah. So conceptualizing, maybe we want to do something.
No, let me.
Okay, you want to know the main process?
Yeah, I want to know the main process.
The main process when we get on is computational.
But you first draw.
Yeah, we draw.
And you transfer. Onto, do you take pictures, scan, or you look at the drawings and now you animate them on the computer?
Okay, so it depends on the artist.
All right.
But very good artists can quickly go straight onto the, maybe you are using Animate, Adobe Animate. You go straight and you start your drawings on the PC. But some also want to keep or capture the essence of what they are doing, so they start with just rough sketches.
All right.
Then you can take photos of those rough sketches, then put it in the software, just draw over it and get what you want to get. So these are guidelines along the line.
Now let me ask this question as well. Looking at some of the pictures and those playing the characters, do you sometimes miss the name and the voices along?
So as in pairing them. Yeah, people ask this question because they feel like the character Ajiti looks like Ajiti Anan or the voice or tone. But yeah, once the person fits the character, we give it to. But these are true representation. Some are similar, some are just created characters. But for Sergeant Ajete, Corporatipo and Co, we have those photos and all. So you can just pick them. So we just have them look like them.
No, what I want to really understand is having two images.
Yeah. Being the same.
Being the same, almost the same. Yeah. Do you sometimes miss the voice? The voice over?
No. You don't miss it. Once you have in the studio, once you record your voice, you name the voice that you actually have.
So when you see the image,
this is where you have to place it. So this character moves with this very one. And it also takes, that's the post-production. After animation and everything, we come back to the basic things, just like you see other film producers do. We come back to Premiere Pro or whatsoever editing software that you use. We do the scoring, you lay them, the VFX and all those things, you lay your voices and all before you do your final export for the movie to be out.
Does it mean to do animation you just need to go learn graphic designing or anything editing, then you are good to go, or there is a special field?
Okay, so just like I mentioned, with respect to like the 2D, you really need like someone who can draw and the in-betweens that you do very good copycat.
2D, 3D, so 3D, 3D and stuff.
All you need is that creative aspect. You really need to think into it. 3D, you don't need any form of drawing because it's just modules. You have your characters, you create them in your character creator or whatever application you are using. You can use your iClone and all those things. When you do those things, you now come in. After you have your character, you do your character rigging and all, you put them, there are even presets that you can lead and all those stuff. So, but when you're focusing mainly on the 2D, you really know how to draw. And it's easier. That's what we do, workshops and things to teach people. So just as I mentioned, we are creating characters and scenes, we are storyboarding. You can take photo of that and put it in the PC and draw over a sketch over it. We have the sketch parts and all that. But if it is not something that is going well with you, then you can actually get someone who can draw for you. When a person draws, you can take photo and put it on and you can continue with
so visual art students that are watching us live right now,
it's open to them. It's a big industry. Voiceover, script writers, visual art artists, we have illustrators. So basically just like you see more of what our musicians are doing now, Kofi is one of them, illustrated backgrounds and all. So when you come out, there are various avenues and various roles to play. After that, the post editing and all that comes in. You are very good with composition and all that. You compose songs. You can very well do VFX. You can very well do editing and exporting, rendering them and all. There are various aspects of the whole industry. So it's a very big industry. People see it as just Charlie didn't draw. No.
It looks like a lot of people don't take them serious. Yeah. But let's come to Ghana right now. What is the state of animation in Ghana? It looks like they are just they are just doing billboards, they are doing signboards, or back in the day, signposts and signboards. What's the state of animation now?
So this is the point where I say big ups to 3FM, TV3. Always, I think you're very, 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 very mindful of days like this. Last year, even earlier this year, SIT March 28th, Crossroad, you even invited us to be here to talk about works we're doing using animation. Animation is a very great tool to tell these very stories. We're communicating with people who, whether irrespective of their age, they will appreciate what you are putting out right if you are putting out the things rightly and excellently. So for kids and for adults, everyone enjoy animation. And that is why you don't forget the name Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
And you still laugh. Today you watch it.
Today I'll watch.
It's the same way we have to appreciate that these are great tools that we have as Africans that we can leverage to tell our own stories the African way from the African perspective. But it's rather unfortunate that we are not appreciating it. You call yourself an animator and cartoons. That's the first thing that can cartoons. Especially when you even say this is made in Ghana. Hey, we are sure. So we doubt ourselves, we don't believe, we despise our own selves. And that's why our animation industry as Ghanaians is in a sorry state. But thanks be to God, we're having new crops of people who are actually standing out to do exceptionally well. So even beyond just the 28th The Crossroad being Ghana's first animated feature film, we also had Asantua from Mills Media that came in. We'll be having a screening of a brief record from one of our lady animators from Karen Studios. I want to get the exact studio. But KHPH Studios, that's it. Yeah, always it misses me. So many people are doing so well out there. We have Selom. Selom is also an animator. We have Indigene Bros. We have Poker Studios. We have a lot of them. Who are doing exceptionally well. Yeah.
So do you think animation is going to have a positive impact on our democracy?
So this is where, thank you. This is where the whole thing comes in. The kind of stories we tell matter. And that is why we have to go beyond the 2 minutes, 3 minutes, the commercials that we do. Because until the people see how we are able to tell African stories, how we are able to tell, even if it's fictional stories, in our own African setting, and I appreciate them, they will always see us to be jokers, in code. And that is why, like Parables Animation Studio, like the Mills Media, like the KHPH Studios, everyone is doing so well to push out to do feature films or short films. And it's been an amazing journey so far. So it's when we're doing these things that people will appreciate. For us that have built the fan base as Parables Animation Studios, we started with this Kwaku Anansi story, repackaging them and all that. People were fascinated by the fact that they are seeing Kwaku Anansi stories in a digital format, communicating with so much morals. So it matters what kind of stories we are telling. And when we tell the stories rightly, just as you're saying, what impact would it have on our democracy? It's just like poetry, as you guys know me for. Poetry is a very vital tool. And way back, they were using poetry as a very great tool to speak to power. It's the same way as an animator. I don't need to go and get people who understand me or be on the same page with me that will make me animate something. Once I can sit in my studio and I have 1 or 3 people in my studio, or 5 people, 10 people, whatever the size of my studio is, we can create something and still speak to the tone of issues. So this is a very powerful tool, just like poetry was used back then by the greats. We can also use animation to tell these stories and reshape what we need to do. We need to do a reprogramming of our own people to understand what the African setting is, our true Africanness. And the only way we can do that now is to really go hard on animation. Because beyond even just having the tool to use to tell our African stories from our own comfort, it also gives longevity to our creators. Because just like Ajete Anan and many others, after they cannot go live on stage, they can still use their voices.
All right.
So even at home, even at 80,
can
at
still
90,
make some good
they can
money.
still make some good money with their voices. So we need to embrace it now because it's a vital tool and it's going to really bless everyone.
You know, we've been told that Africans don't read. They hate to even write. We don't have a history. So the white man will have to write the history for us to read and to study again. So do you think animation is going to help tell that African story? Like the By the Fireside we used to watch back in the day and stuff like that.
Yeah, it is a vital tool. We need to really, there's an awakening now, just like we're using it. We've proven that over 10 years now from Parables Animation Studios, we've been able to tell the Anansi stories, done the By the Fireside live section.
Is it just, are you just focusing on the Ghanaian stories, or you go somewhere like Togo, Benin, you get some traditional stuff there?
Yeah, so they are all in the pipeline, but you really need to start from somewhere and be appreciated, because money is also key. And we need to start from somewhere so that when we get to some point, you have the selling power. To be able to dictate to the market how much you want to put the product out and you still be appreciated. And that's why we started with the Kwaku Anansi stories, using the digital format, telling it with animation and also live on stage.
3FM,
bringing back the By the Fireside experience. And over 10 years, so we even metamorphosed it, and it's now Ghana's first cartoon festival in Ghana.
Oh, wow.
The second edition is taking place this year, 26th December. So it's a journey.
It's growing.
Success needs a process, and that's how we're going. So when we're able to build the market and the people appreciate this, then we can tell stories beyond. And with respect to what we're doing, we're also connecting with other artists, other animators, other illustrators in other countries, other African countries, because we really need to project our Africanness. And it seems like no one is doing anything, but many people are doing so much. So when we launched, there's the Koliko Plus app, which is Ghana's first streaming platform for exclusively animated content and comic books made in Ghana and Africa. We also thought it wise to add trailers that have been made in Africa, because we might have to go through a lot of processes getting the main work on board. But the trailers, when you contact the person, they say, well, you can put it out because it's already in the public domain. So we are actually throwing more light on what is being done in Africa, and a whole lot is being done. So if we as Africans want to appreciate ourselves, let's appreciate the stories that we've been told. And many a times, many want to do the comparison. So I tell them that if we keep looking to the West to become the best, then we'll become the West. We'll destroy our own selves. So the only time we compete is to compete to complete, not to go. The only time we compare to the West, we have to compare to complete what we are doing here, not to compare to compete with them. So we buttress this point, citing the Japanese issue. They have their own Japanese manga. They didn't listen to anyone. They were doing what will reflect their own culture and their own ways. And today it is globally accepted, and people even watch it here in Africa and appreciate it. So everyone has a unique style of telling the story. Just make sure that you are communicating the right things out. Your authentic storytelling, your things that reflect your true Africanness, and let the African appreciate and stop being, that's inferiority complex.
All right. So you see, most of the cartoons we have now on our channels, they fuse into them this LGBTQ, YYZZ, and all the whatever. It's not affecting society, especially the kids.
So that's an I call it alphabetical disorder. Our media should help us. And that is why, along the line, I appreciated TV3 and 3FM for frequently inviting us to talk about these very things. If we don't appreciate what we are producing within, just like I mentioned, when we launched a Koliko Plus app, even though we're having more projects and we're focusing on the app, and it was a streaming platform, web-based and all, we had content and all, until we put out the Koliko Plus app, and we were now consciously going out to forcefully get people who are doing work. We realized that a whole lot is going on in Ghana, a whole lot is going on in Africa. It means if the media creates an enabling platform to accommodate all these creators, we'll be having more than enough to create, and what we've created already to be showcasing to the people to appreciate made in Ghana and made in Africa. So we have to call on the media to support us. If not, you basically go out there and put...
And what that of our brothers in America, England, and they project their culture on us.
And because they want to project it, whatever fee you want to pay, many of them even give it to you for free. Or with respect to copyright, after a particular number of years, you can actually screen a portion of it or fully for free, and no one will hold you for copyright issues. So you tend to be, one, in your comfort zone to keep showing. Secondly, because it doesn't pay too much to get it.
3FM.
And you think maybe someone within might request more than you are paying to get. So maybe you are paying to get one here, 50,000 to get one here. 50,000 can get you 10 outside. We must not look at that if we really want to keep our Africanness, if we really want to keep our Ghanaianness, if we really want to project our morals, our good morals out there. I don't have an issue with someone who wants to be LG Big TV or whatever. What I want to say is, if you want to do anything you want to do it in your closet. But when you want to force it down the throats of other people, and you even go to the extent of tarnishing their already accepted morals, then that's where we have the disconnect.
You have all the disconnect.
So you can continue to we are at liberty to choose what we want to watch and all that.
But would you one day infuse any of those in your animations?
I am saying it boldly. I am saying it boldly. My face is being captured.
I love that video.
And I've been saying it over the years. I grew up in a Christian home.
Thank you.
And as I've been nurtured, this is how it goes. I don't care whatever funding that comes in the system, whether it's attached to it or not.
So if they are giving you a $3 million
We've denied several of these grants, of these opportunities that come, several calls that come. And let me tell you, I want to be sincere with you. When it comes and you say no, we are humans. But this human you see is a spirit.
Do they fight you?
The human is, it's just in the body. So we respect our spiritual aspect. We know who we are serving. So if you are bringing money and the money is connected to what you think you are serving and the kind of message you want to pass on, you cannot change my message. So I have to say no. We have said no many times. It doesn't mean that $1 million, but you need to know what you stand for. So if I am able to sell my values for money, then I can kill for money.
Nice one.
So I have to be very strong to be able to project my values. And if I value my values, no one has to pay me to change the values. I have to consciously reason myself out for something. If it is new and it is right, then I'll put it in my narrative. But if it is not right and I have to pay to be paid out, it already tells that it is evil. Because if it is right, we all will accept it comfortably. So why would you use money as a bait? When money becomes a bait for anything, then it's evil. So that's the clear answer I'll give. I don't care. I've been in meetings, I have friends who are indulging in all these things. But for what I stand for and representing the company Parables Animation Studios, we will never accept any funding to do that.
Nice one.
If you want to come out, you come clean, you come straight. We are telling our authentic African stories, as I mentioned, and this is what we want to do. We want to work, and we'll work if you are whether LGBTQ, whatever. If you want to work with us, we are open, we are friendly. I've been in meetings that they've been shocked to see me in the meetings because they fight back and they expect you to fight back. But love makes it all. Love isn't self-centered. Love leads. I want to shed that light, and that is the same thing the company Parables Animation is shedding. If an LGBTQ organization wants to tell an African story, we are ready to tell that story, and we'll tell it very well.
But not in their way.
Not in your way. Let us tell it the right African way.
46 minutes past 2. Looking at our educational system, do you think it's right to add animations to some of the subjects in school?
This is the
we
way
have
forward.
Social studies. Do we still have religious and moral education? I don't know. I'm sure that has been scrapped or something. We have science, maths, and a lot of them. Do you think we should have an elective subject or maybe a core subject, animation?
I think what we have to be focusing now is these key things. Animation shouldn't be like a segregated industry and a segregated partner in our educational sector. Today we are promoting STEM. Others also come in and say STEAM, adding arts and all that. But we have to be able to practicalize these things.
All right.
I studied science, I studied engineering, and as I said, I am an excellent student, always top in class.
Nice one.
Today I also
the Afro looks like that. So.
I also find myself doing exceptionally well in the field of arts.
Okay.
Our CEO, Cecil Jones Aban of Parables Animation Studio, studied pharmacy. So it should tell you
so
that...
So he's not selling... I was going to mention something. But my boss is listening. She'll bring me bills, so let me just skip it.
So it tells you that science is arts and art is science, because when we marry the two rightly, we do exceptionally well. And I use the basic example. When we are in the laboratory, when we are in whatever closer we are as scientists, as engineers, when we are drawing a circuit, we draw, this is a cell, this is a wire. Before we go in to do anything manufacturing, bolt and nuts, we have to see the have a pictorial diagram that speaks to us as what we're going to see. So when we're using the AutoCAD and all these things, we are seeing what we have to go and model. So it is very necessary. Today, if you even see engineers after learning AutoCAD, only a few still hold on to that. Because there's no enabling environment that will make you thrive if you want to go into AutoCAD business or we want to go into animation as full-time and all these things. So the environment has to be enabling. And the respect will come from when it becomes the basics. And that is why we go back now. Martin, who is a senior animator at Parables Animation Studio, is also a teacher in one of the international schools at East Legon.
Wow.
It is part of their extracurricular. It is what we're pushing for is now that it should be part of their main, because they enjoy it, parents appreciate it. We are doing workshops back to back and all. And people are really appreciating. And the fact that they see it to be so big because they're seeing it from the West perspective. Because of the kind of, you see big people being voiceover artists, big names and all. So they feel like, Charlie, I need to have to reach some level before I fulfill do, which is not the case. So we did a workshop in partnership with the National Children's Library, and young people from age 6 to 15. And after that, they were able to do their own stop motion animation, and it's on our Coleco Plus app. Anyone can download the app for free and go and watch it. So it tells you that once we make the things available to the people, they will understand it basically and accept it. And once it becomes appealing to them, they will also have that love to study it. So from their homes, and they can just do an animated piece with their phones.
On your phone?
On your phone.
Let me ask this. You know, a lot of kids from age 0 to 18, they are so attached to their phones, the TV. They want to watch cartoons. There is one sound. My producer was singing it earlier on. And you know what? The day you want to sleep, you want to have peace of mind. That is when they increase the volume. Don't you think we can teach them through maybe this way or through animation so that they can learn the 1 + 1, 2 + 2 in the African setting?
Yeah. So we've also created some content on that, where in a local
it's all
languages.
on the Koliko app, right? All right.
Yeah. So when you download the Koliko Plus, it's just Koliko. Koliko is puppetry in Gandangbe, giving life to inanimate objects by humans.
Why you were saying Koliko?
So you think of fried yam,
sweet potato, and
so it's the same spelling as Koliko.
Oh, okay.
Then you add the plus sign, Koliko Plus, but it's puppetry in Gandangbe language. So that's basically it. We're doing our best using our local languages and all. So when you watch 28 this in, we are trying to make sure that we appreciate what we have as our own people.
But you also think that we can use that to teach the students from maybe basic to
audiovisuals are key. And this is why we need to reprogram the kids. So A shouldn't be apple. A can be what? Ama.
Yeah, I can see Anka.
A can be Agbelika Klo.
Thank you. Agbelika Klo, Agbelima. Mention them.
So you see, so if it happens that way, when this child is sitting with people from various countries, he wouldn't be shy to first mention his local name.
You are speaking vernacular in school.
And even outside, you know, many people don't like it when their kids are even speaking local language.
Yeah.
Because we want to. Yeah. It's an identity.
Like my late father. You know, you take 6 lashes right now.
Yes, sir. So we need to really go back to the drawing board to make sure that we effect these very changes. And we are open. We're calling on the government. We want support. Just like you put in so much in, get fund and all, let's apportion some funding. We are not saying come to Just Parables Animation Studio. I also sit here as an executive member of the Animators Association of Ghana. So there are many people. It not be one work for one person.
Everybody.
It's a big industry.
Let me also ask this. I know you've been training kids as well. Do you have your offices across, maybe in the Volta region, Eastern region? I love more of the Volta region. So Volta region, Volta North. Let me stress on that. Volta region. I am the MP for the entire Volta region. So do you have offices all over the place? The other regions there, they should cry for themselves.
So we don't have regions, but we have reps. And this because they help us to propagate what we're doing. So just like we have our works out, they can tell people that this is going on out there in the various regions. We've done a couple of road shows. We've been to Eastern. We've been to Eastern. We've been to Central. Kumasi. I've not been with the team to the north, but I've been there alone twice. We've done screening there. We've spoken about animation. So what we want to do is, once we have the support, that's why I said the money is also necessary. So this is why you need to download the Koliko Plus app. Some of the contents are free, some are paid for. Don't think, why should I pay for this? When you pay for it, you can support the artist to do
for
more.
me, I don't like free things. I love to pay because free comes with a lot of pressure. When I pay you, you have no right to come question me. So I don't like free things. You understand?
I understand.
That's why when I meet a woman, I want to use all my force. I don't like free.
Yes, sir. So in the various regions, this is why we're doing some for free. It's like we're now building a massive fan base. So at times you need to bait them with some free things, freebies and all.
This is a family. Some of us, we have kids back at home, you understand, and they want to study. They can maybe come all the way, drive to your offices and come and learn. Do you have maybe an online where they can join on a Saturday morning or maybe on a Sunday right after church? Then you are teaching them what to do. They are sitting by their computers just to learn animation. Because some of us are taking our kids to go and learn Taekwondo. So when they grow up and the man misbehaves, you punch. You know, I'm not preaching violence, but they know how self-defense.
Exactly.
It's very necessary. Do you have a thing like that?
So it's also on the app. when you go the art section of Koliko Plus,
Is there?
there are sections there that tells you how to draw cartoons basically.
Oh, okay.
And all those things. So beyond just having the in-person trainings that we do, we also do well to put those things online for you. So everything is on the Koliko Plus app.
92.7.
Once you go there, we make it happen. And also, we'll be visiting the various
Give thanks.
enough respect, man.
You know, I am so much excited. So excited. You know what? This one there, I'm just going to cut you off the cuff because I want to see what you can do. I know you're a poet. So, animation. I want you to give me some line. But let me ask this one before. You give me the... I don't know if you've written something down. Are you going to do an animation about Akufo-Addo from beginning the campaign when he lost the election, all the way to where we are and the demonstrations and arrests? Would you do something like that?
Okay, so what we did was basically on the Mighty Joe project. That's Ghana's and Africa's first environmental superhero series that we did.
Oh, okay.
We actually took these voices and we animated that. You see Nanado speaking against. Oh no, this is his own voice and this is what he said. So it was just leveraging that to communicate. So just that there's a disconnect from what he said and what's happening now.
Thank you. All right, so let's go to that. Bless us with some poetic words.
Okay.
And I need animation.
All right.
Or you want us to go into something else?
Oh, you want it to be on animation. So
maybe something else.
Let's say it's a freestyle.
Any message. Let's just go.
It's word animation.
So, give me something. Let's go.